Since the beginning of civilization, fire has contributed to the progress and development of mankind. However, throughout history, this destructive force of nature has also wreaked unimaginable devastation worldwide. In California alone, about 5,000 wildfires destroy an average of 1,500 homes, causing approximately $300 million in damages annually. Yet, these statistics do not prevent people from settling in areas where wildfires are a natural and common occurrence. Across Southern California, over 22 million people live in fire-dependent counties, areas where chaparrals are abundant and where there are high risk of wildfires. With a population of about 10 million people, Los Angeles County is the most populated of these fire-dependent counties. The entire region of Southern California brushland is defined as fire-dependent due to the region's climate as well as its abundance in chaparrals, brush, and shrubs. The climate is typically hot and dry during the summer and accompanied by only mildly wet winters. The chaparral in this region is the main contributing factor to California's frequent wildfires, which have become beneficial to the survival of plants in this type of ecosystem. These plants are found in abundance on hillsides and other locations in which the soil is shallow and incapable of holding water. Many of these shrubs promote fire by producing highly flammable dead branches, like the chamois, while other plants, like the ceanothus, have leaves that are coated with flammable resin. Living in a fire-dependent area such as Los Angeles County, all inhabitants should be adequately prepared for a wildfire. The average family has about 3 hours to gather their belongings and evacuate. Necessities in case of a last-minute evacuation include 3 gallons of water per person, enough imperishable food for 3 days, and a first aid kit with each family member's medication. Firefighter Anthony Rand of the Los Angeles County Fire Department says that the best way to be prepared for a wildfire is to have an evacuation plan.
Know exactly what you're going to want to take in the event that you're going to have an evacuation and be forced out of your home. We recommend you keep everything in a safe anyways, a small safe that you could take with you, all your valuables like pink slips or birth certificates, visas if you have them, valuable pictures, maybe jewelry.
Pets should be taken with evacuees, but if are left behind, should be left indoors. Livestock must be kept in enclosures that are in the center of an area clear of shrubs, trees, and other plants. A safe haven should be designated for both pets and livestock.
Have a plan, an evacuation plan of the quickest way that you could get if you have animals or livestock or horses like they do up here in these areas, the quickest way of getting them in the trailers or in the automobiles or trucks and getting it hooked up and ready to go, because time's of the essence when the fire's coming up.
In the attempt to protect homes, residents are required by the fire department to maintain a brush clearance.
They should always make sure that they have what's called a defensible space, which means they need to cut their brush down, keep everything away from their home, keep things away from their chimneys, everything away from the eaves of their houses, trees that are overgrowing against the house. Those things all have to be cut back. And then just make sure that you have a good roof on, especially up in this area, people with wood shake roofs. Those houses are like candles that are just ready to go.
Fires not only have an effect on the surrounding ecosystems and communities, but the smoke from fires also has numerous drastic effects on bodily health. It is estimated that 50 to 80% of the fire-related deaths are from smoke inhalation rather than burns. Smoke inhalation stands to be the #1 cause of fire-related deaths. The smoke is composed of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and a particular matter known as soot. Short-term exposure to this smoke may cause the weakening of the immune system, worsening of pre-existing cardiovascular and respiratory problems, headaches, and a decline in lung functions. However, these symptoms are transitory and reversible as long as the exposure to the smoke is not prolonged. If smoke inhalation is combined with other ailments, cold symptoms such as a cough and a sore throat may become persistent as chemicals, aqueous substances, vapors, and soot from the fire irritate and corrode the tissues of the respiratory system. These symptoms, combined with lack of rest and increased stress levels, which are all typical of residents affected by the wildfires, can lead to acute bronchitis. It has been shown that long-term exposure to the elevated levels of soot and carbon monoxide may lead to the development of chronic bronchitis, emphysema, heart disease, stroke, and even cancer. The smell of smoke, persistent even after the fire is over, increases and prolongs emotional distress. Possibly the most significant impacts of living in a fire-dependent area are the psychological and emotional effects of returning to a fire-ravaged community. Living through a fire that threatened one's home and community is a traumatizing experience, and oftentimes can cause psychological stress, trauma, grief, and even depression.
I think that's probably the scariest thing to ever happen to somebody is having to see the fire just spreading like nothing. I mean, just everywhere the embers land, things caught on fire. I mean, unless you're in that situation, then you realize how dangerous it is, and you realize that things can happen in any moment. Things change, things happen. People need to understand that in those situations, you have to be calm, you have to understand what's going on.
Being able to see news footage of other homes being destroyed or threatened by the fire can make preparing for an evacuation an overwhelming experience, especially for children. One major factor that adds to this stress is the smoke produced by the fire. The smoke is a source of psychological distress and contributes to anxiety, depression, and aggressive behaviors. For residents whose homes and communities were destroyed, returning home to the aftermath of a fire is absolutely devastating. These residents must learn to cope with the loss of their homes and treasured personal belongings while making arrangements to find somewhere to stay, to deal with finances, to hire contractors, and to negotiate with insurance agents. The destruction of a home and a person's place in the community may result in post-traumatic stress disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder-like symptoms, including trouble sleeping, nightmares, jumpiness, and irrational fears of fire. Even residents whose homes were not destroyed may be affected by psychological stress resulting from having their homes, properties, and personal belongings threatened.
So it wasn't a matter of us losing our house, but it was a matter of losing what was inside the house. And again, with us having collector's items, things that belong to my oldest son going to the Olympics, which is something you can't replace, something that he did once in a lifetime that he'll never ever do again. Have that kept aside. My kids' awards are put away in packages. It was just a matter of what you can live without. And what the most thing is was my pictures. Even today, my pictures aren't even back up on the wall because for fear of something of us going through something like that again.
Returning home to a community that was once threatened, these residents may lose the sense of security they once had.
That night sleeping, once we came back, and to know, do we still want to live here? Because it hit us, it came that close. And that's the first time ever in our life, me and Bobby's life, to have anything come that close to us. Earthquakes, no. But a fire, I think, was more scary for us than an earthquake has ever been.
However, despite fire's destructive nature throughout history, it has been seen as an engine of significant change. The destruction wreaked by fires results in closer relationships between community members, the fire department, and other subgroups within the community. Living in Southern California, we are faced with the constant threat of wildfires. Annually, wildfires destroy hundreds of millions of dollars in property and thousands of homes. Beyond their immediate danger to life and property, wildfires are also responsible for adverse long-term health effects, increased levels of stress, and depression. Despite all of this, Humans have shown unimaginable resilience by continuing to rebuild our communities and adapting to these environments. With a population of at least 10 million people residing in these fire-dependent counties in Southern California alone, it is apparent that fire-dependent communities are here to stay.
Guys that are not working today. So this is one of the rooms they put the gear in. And then this is called the day room.